Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys, brought to you by the Hockey Podcast Network. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a sports betting perspective. With pro handicappers Alex B. Smith and veteran sports writer Jimmy Murphy. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by the Hockey Podcast Network. A brand new week, Monday, February 28th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, Andrew McInnis, and Jimmy Murphy. The whole crew in the house to start the week, ready to look ahead to a Monday night slate with just 3 games on tap, but 3 pretty interesting games to look at. We'll get to those in just a bit. Of course, I want to remind everybody, our next Tuesday night betcast is tomorrow night, March 1st, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. A great slate tomorrow night, 9 games. It'll be a busy Tuesday night, and it's a Tuesday night where I don't know why the hell they didn't do this last Tuesday when we had our Tuesday night betcast, but we've got our staggered start times back tomorrow night. You look at it, there's 4 games in the 7 p.m. Eastern Time hour, and then you've got a couple of games at 8 p.m. Eastern Time in that hour. You've got one at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and then a couple of late games as well. So that's a little bit better. Just from live betting purposes, for that betcast tomorrow night. So we're excited about that. As always, DM one of us if you want to get the link and be able to join us on the betcast on Tuesday night. As far as the weekend goes, it was a crazy weekend of hockey. That Saturday card top to bottom, and we talked a little bit about this Vito and I yesterday, that Saturday card was just really great from a viewing standpoint, from a hockey fan standpoint. You had Edmonton and Florida to start the day. You had the Rangers and Penguins on national television on ABC after that. You had, obviously, the outdoor game in Nashville with the Lightning and the Predators on TNT Saturday night. You had Vegas and Colorado, great rivalry. Minnesota, Calgary in the late night hours. It was a very good Saturday of hockey. And look at even yesterday, you had 8 games yesterday, and get used to that on a Sunday. There's going to be a lot of games to look at. Of course, when you look at it for the Edmonton Oilers, they split with Carolina and Florida, which I'm sure they'll take. Mikko Koskinen, by the way, he's got to be the guy now moving forward. Mike Smith's just not getting it done right now for the Oilers. And Koskinen 6-0-1, like I said yesterday, 6-0-1 in his last 7 starts for the Oilers, Mikko Koskinen. So I think Jay Woodcroft might be at that point where it's time to run with Mikko Koskinen now moving forward in net for them. Just to highlight a couple of the results we saw yesterday, we saw obviously the Winnipeg Jets rescue a must-get 2 points against Arizona. If they had lost that game, that would have been big-time trouble for their playoff hopes. It was a must-salvage. We had some prop winners on the show yesterday. Tage Thompson again scores a goal. Just continues to be terrific. Kyle Connor and Adam Lowry, a couple of nice Winnipeg Jet goal scorer props cashed in. We hit the over saves with Wedgwood in that game against the Jets as well. JT Miller over 1.5 points plus 190. Very proud of that one. That he got 2 points early in that game against the Rangers, his former team, helping the Canucks to victory. So pretty good Sunday. Vito's just, you got to get the fire hydrant out and spray him with it right now. He's on fire at the moment, Vito, with his plays. I mean, he had a terrific weekend in his 2 appearances on the show. Me, not so much with the best bets, unfortunately, but we'll see if we can get back on track. There is the best bet for me tonight, even though it's only a 3-game slate. I really like it a lot. So I think we can get back off the schneid with those. We had Nashville. That was a tough one on Saturday with the best bet. And, of course, yesterday, Pittsburgh-Columbus over falls short. Million chances, but not a lot of great finish in that one as the Penguins win 3-2 in that one. Alex, it's good to have you back. Welcome back. How was the weekend and thoughts on what we saw on the ice?
Weekend was solid, like you said, from a viewing standpoint. Not so much from a betting standpoint. I went kind of cold the last few days in hockey, and it's kind of stretching to other things. I know this is an NHL show, but yesterday in the NBA, I had Steph Curry over 28 or more points. He finishes with 27. So it was just one of those weekends overall from a betting standpoint. I had the team total over 3.5 with Tampa Bay. Game falls 3-2. So you're just gonna have those streaks kind of come going waves, obviously. So hoping to as we enter a new month of March and things get absolutely insane from here on out, hoping we can start a new fresh run. But I think the craziest, at least score and setup of the weekend had to be Toronto-Detroit on Saturday. I didn't get to catch much of that because I was watching Nashville-Tampa, but I'm looking and see the final. I see 10-7, and I go, oh, wait a minute. I thought the MLB was on break. It looked like the Blue Jays beat Detroit 10-7. No, that's Leafs and Wings. And to see the recap of how that happened, Leafs had a big lead. Detroit damn near comes back and ties it. Gets all the way to 1 goal, and all of a sudden ends up being a 10-7 final. So it's not a good sign for Toronto. I mean, Detroit, yeah, we've seen them being in some boat races like that, but Toronto, okay, cool. Scoring 10 goals is fine, but you shouldn't be giving up 7 to a team like the Red Wings this time of year. So something they may need to address. And as far as that stadium series go, I've been saying it for a while. I'm kind of over the novelty of the outdoor games. I think that's probably one of the best ones. You had a great crowd, over 60,000 people.
And they were loud.
Yeah, a loud, boisterous crowd. Like obviously, Tampa fans came in and filled that place up just as much as the local Predator fans. I'm a country music fan, so I love the entertainment. Had Miranda Lambert performing, so it was just really fun. It was definitely a different atmosphere. Usually when you see it being played like up here in Minnesota and it's freezing, and obviously you can't do a whole lot of super big festivities in the cold. It just doesn't translate that well. But when you got nice weather, and it's not like these are two teams that are exactly rivals, but we saw a fight on the ice and some good action back and forth. It actually kind of just made it. I think the stadium series might be the way they should transition moving forward with these outdoor games. The Winter Classics and certain things, I don't know. It just, the setup just seems to be a little different. I think having some more warm venue games, maybe some, a few years ago, Vancouver had that game that was played in the Dome, trying to just draw some bigger crowds and maybe in some nicer weather, spots. It might just lend to a better viewing experience for even the people on TV.
Yeah, definitely. I think the stadium series, like I think they're still going to go forward with Winter Classic every year, but it feels like the stadium series, and they're trying, I think, at some point the NHL to get the outdoor game experience to every single team in the NHL at some point, and I don't think there's too many now that haven't had an outdoor game. I mean, we're starting to get to the point where slowly but surely they're going to go through every team in the league in terms of each team having at least hosted an outdoor game once, no question about that. Andrew, thoughts on the weekend overall?
It was a crazy weekend. I think we saw pretty much, last Monday when you said what's going on to me, and I kind of gave the same answer I'm going to give now, is that we're seeing a lot of situational spots. I think that if there's ever a time for me to tell people when you're handicapping the NHL, make sure you're checking these schedules. Make sure you're looking ahead at certain teams, their kind of their pathway ahead for the next week. That's really helped my handicapping this year, and you can kind of realize, let's take a look at the Colorado game. Colorado and Vegas, both their different games. I believe those were on Friday. We talked about those on the Ice Guys show. Colorado comes back, Vegas struggles in that game, and then they both play each other Saturday. I mean, to me, I think one of the most, cliche terms that's actually credible is the letdown spot. And we're starting to see that here. These scheduling spots are a big deal, and some of them are letdowns. Teams are really figuring out which games they really care about. We're starting to really see that. But yeah, up and down weekend. Saturday was good for me, or Friday was good. Hit a big play yesterday. Not so good. So a little bit up and down. I had Washington in regulation against the Flyers yesterday. That one was kind of a rough one. Or was that yesterday or the day before that?
Saturday. You're talking about the Philly game.
Yeah, Saturday. Yeah. So that one was kind of tough. I mean, that was one of those games where we're going to talk about Washington today, but they played their hearts out, dominated the possession wise, dominated shots on goal, and they couldn't finish, So it's kind of how it's been going for me lately. A little bit of zig, a little bit of zag. But hey, that Leafs and Red Wings game, like Alex said, that one was crazy. And I'm curious. I'm curious what Jimmy's thoughts on this, just from a media perspective, because I saw a lot of hate, going to. I shouldn't use the word hate, but people were looking down upon the outdoor game this past weekend. I'll be honest with you guys. I didn't watch it this weekend. And somebody said there's a problem with the marketing with the NHL. A lot of people didn't know it was even happening, or, didn't watch it or whatever. Like, what do you think, Jimmy, there? Because I mean, my buddies that are, soccer fans or NBA fans, stuff like that, they always think that, they say to me just personally, they think there's a marketing problem with the NHL. Would you agree?
Yes and no. I think, first of all, the marketing problem was created when they decided to have more than one outdoor game a year. I think they should have just stuck with the Winter Classic and adding in all these stadium series and the Heritage again. And then, the things they did last year when they went to Lake Tahoe and that other one there. I just think they're kind of taking away the uniqueness from it. And sort of the anticipation, so to speak, and it's getting watered down a bit. So I think that's where the marketing problem is from, is that they're having so many now, people can't keep up.
Too high volume.
So I think the NHL did a great job in terms of marketing it. But again, like I'm saying, it's like people get so caught up in their lives right now, whether it's with COVID or work, and now there's a war going on. And it's just like, it's hard to keep up with everything. So I think it lost its uniqueness, and that's maybe where the problem lies. But as far as this weekend goes, I mean, look, I watched it, and by all accounts, from everyone that was there that I spoke to, the NHL production crew that puts this together, and the event staff, they really hit it out of the park there. So kudos to them for a great job. And I mean, that's the type of thing where I think, when you have it in a city like Nashville, like Alex was saying, maybe more of these warmer climates, not that Nashville's always warmer, but it's still a Southern climate, so to speak. And it's obviously a party town like Vegas is. I just think, look, I always said in football, I'm still a proponent of this. Stop bringing a Super Bowl to all these different stadiums. Just make it in either Las Vegas. Well, I didn't say Las Vegas before, but now that Las Vegas is there, I say you alternate between Las Vegas and New Orleans, and just keep it there. They're great party spots. You can get reasonable trips there, and it's just a fun atmosphere. And I think that's kind of the thing you have with Nashville there. Maybe if the NHL wants to do more than the Winter Classic going forward and still do these stadium series, I would say maybe just do one other game. And I would say pick the same city every year and make it something that takes on a life of its own and a personality of its own. And it's unique, and it's something that people look forward to. And they know they're going to get on the NHL calendar in September and circle that date on when the, X outdoor game is.
Great point.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe suggest so the Lake Tahoe thing, which I guess it was a flop, obviously, because of the timing and not realizing, how the sun works. But do you think having an idea of saying, you take 4 teams or 6 teams and have them play 2 or 3 games in one spot over a weekend, you think that would be a better way to kind of have? So let's say have it in Nashville one year or have it in Lake Tahoe. Maybe not move the location to maybe 3 or 4 places, but have a weekend of just teams. Let's say we take the 6 Southern teams: Tampa, Florida, Nashville, Dallas, Carolina, throw in a Columbus, and have them play outdoors Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Would that be a better marketing strategy?
I mean, how about this? As you're saying that, it just popped in my mind. And, I love Lake Tahoe, by the way, but the one thing I'll point out there, Alex, is that I think that was a one-off because that was specifically designed for the COVID environment where they couldn't have
no
fans.
crowd. Yeah.
They're in the middle of nowhere. And I don't know how you would build enough stands. It would just, you need an arena or a stadium, a foundation in place. You can't just build it up for a weekend. So as far as what you're saying, though, why not do that as the All-Star weekend? Why not just have the All-Star weekend outdoors every year?
Yeah, that would be great.
Do the Winter Classic and do the All-Star weekend outdoors and do a mini tournament like that. And whether you pick different teams each year, or you do a setup with divisions like you're already doing and have sort of a round robin or something, or some kind of tournament like that. Do that. I think that would be a great hit. And do it pick Nashville, alternate, pick 2 cities. Do Nashville one year and then another city the next.
And for the record, I wasn't saying it didn't look like it was awesome. I know that there was some marketing. I mean, I heard. I'll just say it. I mean,
there's some people that didn't have a clue that there was one.
Exactly.
I forgot.
I'll tell you what. I was way more pumped up for the St. Louis and Minnesota one. I heard way more about that on social media and stuff, and I watched that one. That one seemed to get a lot of attention, but. I watched a lot of Ryan Whitney's stuff and Biz and them, and he said that was one of the best. To Jimmy's point, that was one of the best organized events he's seen. He was saying how awesome it looked. So
he also worked for TNT. He's got to say good things about it.
True.
But
and then the stigma that still exists too about people. It's not a warm weather climate. It's not really a hockey climate and a hockey town, which is stupid at this point because we've seen how successful Tampa and Vegas and Nashville have been. But I think that still does kind of hinder those teams. I think more people, for example, I think about that stadium series with LA and San Jose at Dodger Stadium. Really cool environment, but I think that's probably the worst rated outdoor game that they had, and most people didn't watch it because it was just a weird environment. Like I said, I personally think for people going to games, and I know this because there's been 2 here in Minnesota. I've talked to people who've gone. They said it was terrible to go to because of just the viewpoints of everything, and the fact that it's event. Right, it's a TV event, and it's 30 below zero. I mean, it's hard to watch anything in that kind of weather. But to have it in a nicer environment, a nicer climate, I think that would really kind of, like I said, you could tell the crowd was really into it on Saturday, as opposed to with other games. You can't really, get that kind of feel while watching on TV.
Yep.
And our friend in the chat, Chris Otto, does a great job with the totals charts every day, which you should be checking out at PSU Auto. He's also got a great thought here about why are they putting it with 12 other games on a Saturday night? Exactly. And why don't they switch? Why is the Rangers Penguins, the standalone 3 p.m. Eastern game Saturday afternoon, the only game at that time? You could have done Tampa Bay, Nashville at that time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Are they worried about the temperature being a couple of degrees warmer?
No, the sun, but there was no sun forecast. But yeah,
and because TNT has all the outdoors, because even I think the Heritage Series, I think, was a TNT production as well. So that's the case for that.
Even the Winter Classic.
Kenny Albert's coming to Hamilton in 2 weeks.
The Winter Classic, they even had like 5 other games that day. I know, because the Bruins had a game that day. It was stupid. You're taking away the uniqueness of it and the putting that in the spotlight. It's like you're watering it all down. That stuff I don't get. However, maybe this year there were more games on January 1st just because of the COVID situation.
Right, because that was still the schedule before the Olympics being canceled. So otherwise that would have probably been a standalone. I do like the fact that these games are at night now and not the daytime. And I think, like I said, they had a lot to do with the Lake Tahoe disaster. So putting even the Winter Classic at 7 o'clock to 7:30, I think that's a much better move than having a noon game, especially on New Year's Day when you're competing against bowl games. That's just never a good idea.
Yeah. And the thing is, too, NHL's not stepping on Hockey Night in Canada's toes on a Saturday night. They're not going to say, you know what, Hockey Night in Canada, you can't have all your Canadian teams on and your doubleheader at 7 p.m. Eastern and 10 p.m. Eastern because we're clearing the deck for the outdoor game as the only game on a Saturday night. I mean, that's just never going to happen. They're never going to convince Rogers and Sportsnet to do that. No, and I don't think they'd ever ask them to do that. So that's the conundrum. If you're going to have that game, it's hard to have a standalone spot for it. Because if it's the afternoon, you'd think would make sense, 3 p.m. Eastern, but you're worried about what the temperature is going to be, and the ice could be in worse conditions, and the sun might be an issue at that time.
So honestly, they should have made it last night, because if you from a TV perspective, there's really nothing on late, Sunday night, and you have a standalone NBA game, but and ironically enough, it was a college hockey game that took place at Nissan Stadium. It was Middle Tennessee State and Vanderbilt that played on the ice and got to use it. They could have flip-flopped those around and easily had that event be Sunday and probably would have done a lot better on the ratings.
Yeah, no question. There's definitely some great points there. All right, let's get into the card. We've got 3 games here on a Monday. Let's start it off. We've got the Vancouver Canucks taking on the New Jersey Devils. New Jersey minus 125. Home favorites here, 6.5 the total. It is still 6 in some spots, but most books now have moved to 6.5 here in this game. Vancouver Canucks with a very good performance last night to start this East Coast road trip against the New York Rangers. Very good performance from them. First period, they kind of got outplayed, but that's why you have Thatcher Demko on your side. He was very strong in the first period, allowed the Canucks to weather that early storm from the Rangers. And then it kind of felt like the push waned a little bit from the Rangers. I think the Canucks got stronger in the second period, and as that game went on, they really started to take over. That was a dominant second period for Vancouver, and that's really where they started to take over that game, and they got the victory there in that one. We'll see if they can keep it rolling here. Now, this is second of back-to-back games, but this is New York to New Jersey, and that means no air travel. That means you probably stay in the same hotel if you're the Vancouver Canucks. So this is not that bad of a back-to-back situation for them in this game. But you look at some of their advanced numbers, and boy, last night, I mean, the Rangers expected goals. They should have scored more than they did. Demko was phenomenal. There's a lot of high-danger chances allowed by the Canucks in that game. It's concerning moving forward for this group. The goaltending has been masking a lot of issues defensively at times with that team. Their penalty kill still isn't that great either. And now they're playing a rested New Jersey team that hasn't played since Friday night when they actually lost to Alex's Chicago Blackhawks 8-5. But they haven't played since that game Friday night. And I mentioned on the show Friday, and I mentioned this on Twitter as well after the game on Friday night with Chicago. This New Jersey team offensively, get ready to see them score some goals moving forward. They got Dougie Hamilton, their best puck-moving defenseman back by far. He really drives so much of the offense from the back end for this Devils team. They got Andreas Janssen back, and the biggest return that they got prior to the game against Pittsburgh last week. You know, the one where they shocked the world on our Tuesday night betcast and beat the Penguins 6-1. They got Jesper Bratt back prior to that game as well. And look what the guy has done since returning. He scored the first 2 goals against Pittsburgh. He scored again against Chicago. This is a good offensive team. They're fully healthy now. Hughes and Hischier, and you got Bratt now in the lineup for them. You've got all of it. Mercer, of course, has had a pretty solid year offensively for the Devils as well. Sharon Govich, Zaka, of course, is very capable. They've got nothing from Tatar, and if he ever gets going, like, this is a team that's going to be able to score some goals. And I think right now, and I said this on Twitter, Devils team totals are where it's at for me right now. Ever since they got all these guys back, they scored 5 against Chicago, even in a loss. They scored 6 against Pittsburgh. And I'd rather take New Jersey team totals than lay anything with them on a money line or puck line or anything to do with that nature, because I can't trust their goaltending one night to the next. I can't. One night they're going to give up 2 goals. The next night they'll give up 8, like they did against Chicago. Nico Dawes and John Gillies is a very difficult tandem to trust right now for me. So this is a very good bet for me here. New Jersey team total over 3.5 plus 130. Halak is in net for Vancouver. He's too inconsistent, too erratic for my liking. I think the Devils here score 4 minimum tonight in this game. They could win the game. Vancouver to me still a little bit better than New Jersey, but the situation is in New Jersey's favor. The schedule is in New Jersey's favor. They're playing Vancouver now on a back-to-back situation. And apparently I need to go back to second grade because I misspelled Vancouver on the marquee. Let's change that right now. There we go. All right. Vancouver, not Vancouver. There we go. But I like the Devils to score goals tonight, and I don't know if they'll win the game. I don't want to trust them to win the game with just how shaky their defense and goaltending is. So for me, it's New Jersey team total over 3.5 plus 130. Great price with that. I think they score 4 minimum. They've scored 4+ in back-to-back games since they got everybody healthy. And I lean to the full game over too. It's juiced at 6. It's moved to 6.5, but I would lean full game over as well. Alex, what do you think? Vancouver, New Jersey.
So I've been fortunate enough to have an out now where I can get some of these first period totals a little bit earlier. So I bet this last night. Over 1.5 minus $1.25. You pretty much can't find that anywhere now. It's everything I'm seeing is $1.40 up to $1.60. So I would recommend playing that in game live. Also would look a little bit sprinkle on that both teams to score prop. That's something we've seen cash in 22 games now with the Devils. And as Chris Otto put it in the chat, 22-5 to the first period over the last 27 games, and 23-3 the last 26 with a goal in the first 10 minutes. So like you said, that's a direct reflection of not only the Devils' offense getting going, but the fact that they said the tandem of Dawes and Gillies is something you can't trust and rely on. So no matter who they play, and Vancouver had a nice little run. They're 7-3 the last 10 to the first period over as well. So that's the play I really like. Like I said, at this price now, I wait to get it a better price adjusted in game, but I'm definitely on this first period over.
All right, good stuff. And for me, from a prop standpoint in this game, you know where we're going. Jesper Bratt to score a goal. Cashed it against Pittsburgh, cashed it against Chicago, cashing it again, I think, tonight. I think he'll find the back of the net. He's scored 3 goals now actually scored 4 goals, I beg your pardon, in the 2 games since he's returned from his absence against Pittsburgh and Chicago. Got 2 in both games, 2 against the Penguins, 2 against the Blackhawks. I think he'll find the back of the net, and you got to take his over shots on goal too, because it is just, he's had 4 and 5 shots on goal in these last 2 games since returning. So that is the player for me to target and zone in on here from a prop standpoint tonight. Jesper Bratt over 2.5 shots is minus 120. Think about that. He's had 5 and 4 shots, and he's going to get minutes. He's playing in the top 6. He's going to be on the power play because he's just got the red hot stick going right now for the Devils, playing with Hischier and Zaka on that second line. So definitely Jesper Bratt riding the hot hand with him once again tonight. Beers and brats. Very well said there, Kenny Wu. Great job there. Andrew, what do you think here? Vancouver, New Jersey.
Yeah, I mean, Vancouver playing some good hockey right now. Looking at the goals that they've scored, the amount of, first of all, just talking about information. I mean, I always say that there's been a very different, compared to years past, backup versus starter hasn't been as big of a deal nowadays as it used to be. When I was growing up, okay, it's the backup in. If I was a betting man when I was 8 years old, you guys can tell me, but the lines would move way more. But now with backups, it's not nearly as much. But I'll tell you what, Yaroslav Halak versus Thatcher Demko, you can already guarantee I was waiting to find out who was going to be between the pipes in that game for me betting the over, because I probably would have still liked it with Thatcher in net. And it's not like Yaroslav's played horribly. He's been put in some bad spots, but just based on what I've seen from him and based on this road trip here for the Canucks and the fact the Devils are scoring so much, I think that I just wanted to wait until Halak was confirmed. And then Dawes as well. Look, he's only played a couple games. He's 21 years old. He hasn't gotten demolished in any games by any means, so we can't come on here and rip on the guy. But again, when you're missing not just your number one, number two, but so many goaltenders have just been down for this team. No Blackwood really hurts the Devils as far as defense, or as far as goaltending goes. And then their defense has been tough. I mean, when you look at this Devils team, you touched on it, Ian. They've got some great puck-moving defensemen, but they don't really have that many stay-at-home guys. Their whole decor is made up of guys that love jumping into the rush. That, to me, can't be something that helps you in the long run when you're constantly giving up goals. You look at this team, how many of it? They just allowed 8 goals. But something for them as well, they scored 11 goals their last 2 games. So not only are they giving up, they're also scoring some themselves. So just the evidence over the past 5 to 6 games from this Devils team, they're proving to us that, hey, we can score goals, but we're just as bad at giving them up, And Vancouver, what I liked about their offense recently is that they've been getting getting it going from everybody, not just 1 or 2 guys. A lot of contributors on that team, but I will say it's nice to see the big guys, the superstars that get paid the most. They're the ones contributing as well. So I really think that this game should see goals. It's hard to argue that first period over, like Alex suggested. I mean, with the Devils and the way their first period over trend has been going, and that both teams will score, those are just trends you can't ignore. But I think we'll see goals in this one. And I think it kind of sets up for it, even though it's a back-to-back, and I have been saying that's kind of overrated to discuss that. It does kind of help the argument here. And one thing I wanted to mention as well before I hand it over to Jimmy is just the fact that Vancouver just played 2 really tough games. Not just 2 games in general that they've played well in, scoring 5 goals and 7 goals. Those goals were against the Rangers and the Flames. And I'm not calling the Devils pushovers, but this definitely is a little bit of a letdown versus the Flames and the Rangers. And I think we'll see that. And so the Devils will get goals on their side, but I think Canucks get their fair share as well. So give me the over here.
I'm sprinkling on 14-1 Jesper Bratt 2 or more goals as well, by the way, tonight. I don't do this very often, but I'm doing this right now. I mean, he's had 2 goals in back-to-back games for the Devils, plus 1,400, 2 or more goals for Jesper Bratwurst tonight for the New Jersey Devils. And also over 1.5 points for Bratt is plus. You're getting it upwards of more than plus 200 with that for over 1.5 points. So we're all on the Jesper Bratt train tonight. Again, the Vancouver team, don't be fooled by Vancouver last night. They gave up a shit ton of quality chances and high danger chances, and Demko had to make several 10-star saves, if you will, 5-star saves, whatever scale you use, 5-star, 10-star, but top of the charts, if you will, saves from Demko at times last night against the New York Rangers. Is Halak going to do that for you tonight, especially with what we've seen from him lately? Not so much. So definitely liking the Devils here to score some goals tonight. I think Vancouver probably does as well. Dawes is an enigma because we're probably going to see him tonight. He's had some struggles. He's been pulled in some games, and then he was terrific against Pittsburgh the last time we saw him. So which one's it going to be? That's why I like the Devils team total. I'm not buying. I'm not messing with the money line here. Jimmy, what do you think here? Canucks Devils.
Well, I'm going to piggyback it. First off, before I go on, you bring up the 2 goal bets there, and I've been done pretty well this season with those. I think I've gone like 4 for 5 until Thursday, and this was probably the one I thought I was going to hit for sure. The other ones I was nervous on, but I thought for sure Marchand would come flying out of the gate. He did do that. He got 7 shots, but he couldn't score. And then, of course, Saturday he pours on 1 more shot. It takes 8 shots on goal, and he gets the 2 goals in that game. But I didn't have him then, so I'm a little hesitant. I like the bet on Bratt, but you know what? I'll take a Bratt to score 1 goal here. I'm also going to jump on Alex's first period over. And then, guys, I'm going to go with a little draw here right now. I think you're right. I think maybe, the Vancouver Canucks come in riding a little high, feeling a little too good about themselves. Who knows? Maybe they snuck out for a few pops in Manhattan last night. Who knows? And they come in and, have a slow start, but I think they catch up because we know the Devils' defense is just so hard. And I think we see a back and forth game as the game goes on and it gets to the extra session, maybe even a shootout. So give me the draw as well.
All right, liking the draw here in this one with Vancouver and New Jersey. And Jack Hughes, by the way, scoring goals lately as well. So looking at Hughes is not a bad option either as well for a goal-scoring option for the Devils. All right, Toronto and Washington. We've got the Leafs minus 140. Road favorites, 6 the total in this game. So I don't usually like rushing to the defense of the Leafs. And I'll answer the question someone did ask. I think it was Claudio earlier. Do you think the Leafs are true Stanley Cup contenders? No, but with a caveat. If they get past the first round finally for the first time since Christ was born, that's what it feels like. That's how long it's been for the Toronto Maple Leafs without a first round playoff series victory. But if they finally do win a first round series, then they could be a contender. But that's where only then would I change my mind. Until then, no, I don't think they're a contender. And before we say games like Detroit Saturday night are the reason why we don't think they're a contender, a lot of those goals were fluky. I'll be the first to defend them a little bit for that third period, and that a lot of those goals were fluky. A lot of them were deflections, tip-ins, off skates, off bodies, off legs, off sticks in front of the net, and there was really no shot for Campbell to do anything with any of them, although the one goal was a horrendous goal for him to give up, the one that were right before he got pulled from the net. It was a terrible angle. It just can't go in. So some of those goals were just bad puck luck, if you will, for the Leafs, and they did show some panic, but what I did like is that when they got to 7-6, they steadied the ship. They got the big 8-6 goal, and then from that point on, it looked like, exhale, breathe. It's going to be all right, fellas. And that's kind of what you saw from the Toronto Maple Leafs there Saturday night. They were on the ropes for a bit, but they got the train back on the tracks, and they pulled it out 10-7. Obviously, they want to play a better third period, a better 60 minutes tonight, but I think some of that was just fluke and puck luck and bounces of the puck more than just horrendous defense that just fell apart. So it's interesting to see how they come out tonight after a game like that. You guys can tell me if I'm wrong, but I've seen now Washington for these last few games, and they're not right. This is not a team that's in a good way right now. They're not scoring goals. I think this Ovechkin, Ukraine, Russia stuff is getting to him, and I don't know if he's got the focus and demeanor right now to be at his absolute best on the ice. I mean, he was very, very quiet here as of late for this Capitals team. When you look at what he's done, I mean, only 2 shots on goal in the game the other night against Philadelphia, held without a point. He's been held without a point 2 of the last 3 games. You just wonder. I mean, there's just something that's a little bit off right now with Washington. They still have a suspect at times goaltending situation, Samsonov and Vanacek, and it was Phoenix Copley as well who got a start recently for the Capitals. I mean, it's just tough to trust them in net at the moment. It's not a team I'm rushing to back right now. Now, am I going to chase 30 cents of line movement on Toronto when this line opened at even money and now it's minus 140 in some spots? No, I'm not going to do that either. So for me, this is a small lean to the over, but nothing significant for me from an opinion standpoint on this Leafs and Capitals game, other than Michael Bunting is a goal-scoring machine on the road for the Toronto Maple Leafs. So maybe you keep on going to that with Michael Bunting to score. A lot of his goals, not that he can't score at home, but I find he scores a lot of his goals on the road. He did against Detroit. He got on found the back of the net. That was one of my props I recommended for that Leafs Red Wings game Saturday night was Bunting. So that might be something to look at here tonight from a prop standpoint. Bunting to find the back of the net. Alex, what do you think here, Toronto and Washington?
This game's going to be a pass for me. When you look at a result like we saw with Toronto and Detroit the other night, if you're a trends player, you have to throw the whole game out. You can't look at that and say, oh, this was obviously, okay, a game went over, they won the game. But other than that, you can't, say, well, look at a scoring, streak of, they had 10 goals in one game. It's a true anomaly. And this is a team that, like I said, giving up 7 goals is something you're not going to see from them happen too often either. So it's one thing I like I said, kind of identify, take it for what it was, but you have to move forward. I'm sure the Leafs are going to try to move forward too, because like I said, even getting the win, they can't be happy with the fact they gave up 7 goals to that kind of a team. And Washington's playing hockey right now the way I thought they were going to at the beginning of the season. I thought they were just going to be this kind of up and down team. They got all of our hopes up, and like you said, the Ovechkin issue, that's something you got to really take note of. And it kind of frustrates me personally because I have tickets on him to win the Hart and the Rocket Trophy. It looks like those two things may not happen, and even if he does, let's say he turns things around, Washington firmly gets into the playoffs. You wonder with everything that's going on, and the writers have the final say with these votes. Is he even a finalist for the Hart Trophy? I mean, it would be disastrous if he isn't at 36 years old. The start that he had to the season, if he can, put up a 50-goal season or better, and lead this team into the postseason, I would like to think he still would get consideration in spite of all the things going on in his country. But that's something you have to kind of wonder if you have one of those tickets in pocket like I do. But as far as this game tonight, it's a pass for me. I want to see it. I was on Washington the other night. I thought they would take care of business the other day, I should say, against Philadelphia. They ended up losing that game. It's a bad loss. So they're in a spot where they need to play some spirited hockey, but Toronto's also in the spot where they, got things rolling and definitely want to tighten stuff up after Saturday. So one to watch, but definitely not one to bet.
Yeah, no question. Definitely not a bad choice there with that. If you can find it, by the way, let me see if he should be listed in terms of shots on goal. We'll see if I can find it. It's just something that came to mind just a few minutes ago. Let me see here. Let me see who's got them. Yeah, but anyway, Andre Kasha for Toronto moved up to the second line against Detroit. He had been on the third line before that. Basically, him and Alex Kerfoot flip-flopped. Traded places. Kasha was on the third line, right wing side. Kerfoot was on the second line, right wing side. Well, now Kasha's on the second line on the right side, and Kerfoot's been slid down to the third line. Well, in the first game with Kasha on the second line, he had a goal, he had 2 points, he had 5 shots on goal. And he's going to still be on that second line tonight for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Obviously, Keefe's not going to change that with how well he played on that second line alongside William Nylander and John Tavares. And when you look at that line, Nylander's kind of struggled lately for the most part offensively. John Tavares can't put a puck in the ocean. A 10-goal game, and he didn't get any of the goals. So you're wondering if he's going to score ever again for the Toronto Maple Leafs at this point. So if he gets the puck and he's centering this line, what do you think he's going to do with his lack of confidence finishing right now? He's going to pass the puck. He's not going to shoot. He's not going to be a willing and able shooter with the lack of confidence he has finishing around the net. So that's going to be a benefactor to Andre Kasha in my mind. So I would look at Kasha props over shots, maybe to score tonight, which you can get a pretty solid price on that. I think the goal scorer prop is around plus 225 and over shots on goal as well. I think those are good ways to go. I love these situations when you get all of a sudden someone moving up the lineup and getting more opportunity. And they often take advantage of that. Look at that. One game up to the second line for Andre Kasha against Detroit. He has 5 shots on goal. So there you go. Perfect example. Andrew, what do you think here? Leafs and Capitals.
Yeah, I'll just be short and sweet here. This is one of those games where I'm going to sit back and watch. Look, there's a couple different angles we could all talk about. Good storyline for both teams right now, really. The way the Leafs were struggling for a bit, they got it going again. And they're giving up goals again. Leafs media, Leafs fan base just wants to absolutely chase Campbell out of town again. I mean, there's so much to talk about with the struggles of the Capitals, not just Ovechkin, the team as a whole, being able to score. Kind of reminds me of a soccer match when a team has possession like 70-30 and they can't score. I couldn't believe the Capitals were able to only score 1 goal against the Philadelphia Flyers. But guys, I can make a good argument for both teams in this game. And for that reason, I'm just going to pass. If I was playing this game, I'd probably play the Leafs because to me, this is still a generous price on a team that's just playing better hockey overall. But if you're playing the Capitals, you're hoping this is a wake-up game here, and you're thinking the Leafs are allowing goals. This could be a good one the Capitals get it going against. And that's kind of the question you have to ask yourself, is this the opportunity the Capitals finally score against? But realistically, though, if you're Sheldon Keefe, what are you doing the next day at practice? What's the one thing you want to work on? I'd say, is neutral zone defense, right? Not coughing the puck up. And if they do that, then they're not going to be able to allow goals as easily. So I think that this is a pass for me that you can make a case for both sides.
Especially at the price. You are getting Washington home underdog, generous plus 120. They're not playing well. I don't like their form at all. And not enough to even consider backing them, but the price is kind of value for Washington, and you would think the sense of urgency creeps in tonight. Like, they got to get off this schneid. And they have been good at stopping losing streaks. I don't think they've lost 3 in a row this year at all, believe it or not, Washington.
Wouldn't shock me at all if we see just a random outpour tonight for the Capitals.
Yeah, well, definitely. I know she's back, 3rd game back. He should be more comfortable, no question. And he's kind of, been struggling to find his way since rejoining the Capitals lineup. But I believe, Washington has not lost 3 in a row this season. And if they lose tonight, it would be the first time they've lost 3 games in a row this season. So we'll see if that sense of urgency kicks in against Toronto. Mrazek, by the way, will be in net for Toronto. And you got to wonder now, is this going to be more of a 50-50 goalie split the rest of the season for Toronto? Because Campbell obviously gets pulled, although a lot of bounces went against him in that 3rd period against Detroit. But Mrazek played very well in his last start, which was the game before that against Minnesota. He was terrific in that game for the Leafs, and he has been getting the net more often going into this game here tonight. So, Washington 3-0 last 3 times. They've lost 2 games in a row. So there you go. We'll see if they can avoid a 3-game skid tonight. Not playing well, but we'll see if they can bounce back. Jimmy, what do you think here, Toronto and Washington?
Well, I look at it, guys. Look, I mean, when you give up 7 goals the game before, you can bet the emphasis is going to be defense heading into this game. And I know it's Mrazek, and he scares the hell out of me, but I just think that Toronto's going to come out and really just tighten up and play some really boring hockey, to be honest. And then Washington the same. I think they know they need to buckle down defensively as well. So I'm liking this under 6.5. If it was 6, I might have been hesitant, but you get that extra half there. Give me the under 6.5 for this game. And I'm also going to take the Toronto Maple Leafs for Jimmy Puckline, the first of the week. I think Washington right now is just not in a good place. I think you're absolutely right, Ian, with the whole Alex Ovechkin situation. And you know what? Too bad I don't have one bit of sympathy for him. It's his fault. And that's that, and I think they're in a lot of trouble. I think that the Washington Capitals right now really got to evaluate. It sounds crazy, but I don't really know if they should be buyers like they are right now as the trade deadline approaches, because unless they make some monumental trade that completely reshapes this roster, I don't see this team doing much come postseason.
Yeah, it's Samsonov in net. It's been just a struggle for him right now. A guy that had a terrific season last year for the Capitals. And you look at him this year, barely above 900 save percentage, 2.85 goals against average. His last 9 games, he's got a 3.04 goals against, 907 save percentage. So just not great numbers at all from Samsonov. That's been part of the problem as well. So when you can't score and your goaltending's mediocre, that's a bad combination to try to win games. And we're seeing that right now with the Washington Capitals. Yeah, Oshie did get the 1 goal for them against Philly, but just overall, the lines have not looked in sync those last few games, even with
they
Oshie
just can't
back.
score. Like, I'll tell you what, Ian, I watched the entire game against Philly. I watched
the
entire game.
Oh yeah, tons.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Can't.
I don't like the defense either, guys. It's just, there's a lot of things missing. There's something off, and there has been, like Alex said, there's just been something off about them all season.
Yeah.
Like I don't get excited to watch their games.
No.
Right.
They're not that exciting, flashy team, Washington, like they were, several years ago. It's kind of just that dull, it's like watching paint dry, to be quite honest with you, at times, watching the Washington Capitals. And it's a big change from earlier in Ovechkin's career. And you're right, after John Carlson and Nick Jensen, and Orlov's pretty solid, but you go to Jensen and Trevor Van Riemsdyk and Kempny and Martin Fehervari, and there's a drop-off to the rest of those defensemen for the Washington Capitals. So,
well, I'll say this: growing up from where I'm, where I'm from, there's always us Nova Scotians hate when people say that, the debate. You always hear Ovechkin or Crosby, who's better, who does what, right? It's everybody hates it around here. But I'll tell you one thing: let's take everything going on aside and just talk about hockey for a second. Ovechkin is he can be a playmaker, but he's sit in my home office and get teed up, more of a kind of guy lately. Right. So he needs everybody else around him to be performing. He's not doing what Sid's doing and putting a puck on Gensel's stick and telling him to tap it in the net. That's not what Ovechkin does. He's a finisher. I mean, he used to be a great playmaker now, but The thing is, Ovechkin, I'd say, needs more people around him to get doing well.
Yeah.
It's kind of like if you're a 3-point shooter in the NBA, you need people to be driving the paint to make, some opportunities available on the perimeter. And for Ovechkin right now, if everybody's looking at him to do the scoring, that doesn't really benefit him. He's not really a creator anymore. He's someone that, hey, draw attention towards you, then flip it over to me, in the office. And so, that's kind of why us Nova Scotians say Team Crosby, because Crosby does it all.
Well, and I'll just say this, Andrew, about Ovechkin, though. I agree with you, but I also think maybe it's that he won't let the team help him. I think that he makes it too much about him, and he tries to be the man too much and won't let the other guys step up. And, we saw when he didn't do that, and he bought into a system and to allowing everybody to fall into their roles and not trying to take on everybody else's roles. That's when they won the cup.
Won the cup, yeah.
I think they missed Trotz a lot. I thought that was,
Yeah.
I think Ian brought it up. They play boring hockey, but that boring hockey works under the right coach. It doesn't work under the current coaching regime there. So I just think there's a lot of problems going on right there. I think they need a big culture change.
If you ask Jimmy, people on Twitter, like, who's the better player, the casual fan will say, "Oh, Ovechkin, no doubt. You see all the goals he scores."
The casual fan's a moron then. I mean, Crosby's the track record, the resume speak for itself, and he's also a center, man. So he's got to do more.
Exactly, yeah, different positions.
Yeah, and it's center responsibility. It's amazing how much falls on the center iceman. Anyone, especially a top line or second line center, you're counted on to score. You're counted on to be on the power play and penalty kill and 5-on-5, and you're counted on to win key faceoffs. I mean, there's really a lot that's asked of you. When you're a center, and a lot of that falls on the shoulders of Crosby. Not quite as much of that fall. Gifted goal scorer, incredible goal scorer, Ovechkin, obviously, but definitely in terms of what's required more in terms of the all-around game, Crosby definitely more is asked of him in so many different areas, no doubt. All right, Boston, Los Angeles, final game of this Monday card. Bruins -125, road favorites, 5.5 the total, shaded to the under in this game. This should be a good matchup here because you got two teams that are feeling pretty good about their current form, no question, and they should. The Bruins have actually had a nice little run since beating down Colorado on that Monday afternoon just a week ago, 5-1. They've started off this road trip beating Seattle and San Jose. I mean, obviously teams that are struggling, and we just saw those two teams play each other last night. But 2-0 to start the road trip. Games you would think Boston should win, and they took care of business in those two games. They've obviously gotten Brad Marchand back from his suspension. That has helped. So they've got pretty much all hands on deck. The only guys that are still out are Zaboral, and Vakanainen is still on IR, and Lazar as well. Looks like he's day-to-day. Other than that, Bruins fully healthy. No question about that. Playing well on this road trip. We'll see if that continues here. All that being said, I do an NBA Pub Hub show every day on Pub Sports Radio with Dutch. And every time we don't get a certain amount of likes and hit the people hitting the like button, he gets a little upset and he says, what, 200 people watching and only 40 likes? That's dis-motherfucking respectful. He'll say, hit the like button. You know what I think of this line toward the LA Kings? It's dis-motherfucking respectful. That's what I think of it here tonight against Boston. Value purposes alone, I'm on LA here in this game. I think they get the job done here against the Bruins. They're playing great. Their metrics say this is no fluke what they're doing right now. They're playing very good defensively. Jonathan Quick has had a renaissance season. He's actually 15 goals saved above average. I couldn't believe his numbers were that good. So he has not only been good, he's been great. He's been making important saves, difficult saves. It's been impressive to watch. I'm going to be taking Adrian Kempe again to score, of course. That's going to happen in this game tonight. Just very impressed with this team. And they're going to be tested by Boston here because when you look at who they've played lately, Islanders, San Jose, Anaheim, they're going to be tested by the Bruins. But I think they're ready for this test. And I think more than anything, this is a price that just odds makers have been slow to react to the improvement of this LA Kings team. You read all these quotes from Kopitar, from Brown, Doughty, some of the veterans that were there winning those cups years ago, and the younger players like Iafallo. We think we have a really good hockey team is the common quote that I've heard from all of these guys. We think we have a really good hockey team. We think we're getting better. And this is one of those games where if you're ready to show how much better you are, you're fired up to do so. You're motivated to do so. You got a team that's been a perennial playoff team for years coming in. I think they want to prove a point tonight, this LA Kings team. And to be honest, with the Bruins, even with Marchand and everybody healthy again, you beat in Seattle, you beat in San Jose. Bravo, but let's see a win tonight against a much better team. I like LA here, plus 105 in this one. Alex, what do you think here, Bruins and Kings?
Now I'm the draw here, and it's funny because one of the books that I use normally for playing three-way lines has it at plus 295, which definitely says that there's a lot of other people who feel the same way I do that have been on the draw. I've actually found 320 at another shop, so you got to shop around. Also, I want to make this note too, because we talk a lot about regulations and overtime lines moving forward. Don't be fooled by the trap. I've seen this every year. You will have a yes/no prop and will a game go to overtime, and that line will usually be 40 to 50 cents cheaper than playing the regulation draw. It's literally the same thing. So don't let the books screw you out of an extra 40 or 50 cents. Make sure to play the draw or tie on the three-way line as opposed to going with the yes/no prop as far as overtime goes. So I definitely want to just make that known. But these are two teams that are in good form right now. And make a note too with LA. After this game, they go on a 4-game road trip, which ends in Boston before having to come back home. So they getting a lot of hockey in a very short time hitting the road. So definitely want to see how they play wrapping up with this and see what if this is kind of a physical intense matchup. Keep in mind that at the end of their road trip, they go right back and play these same Bruins. So that's something I have circled in my notes too. But I think this is just going to be a kind of a tit for tat game. We can see, these two teams stay, pretty close. And even I think they realize, even though it's not a divisional matchup or it's an out of conference matchup, but both teams know that the others are playing well. And if they want to, boost things up in their own standings, their own spot, they got to take care of business. So I think we see a close game, and I think it goes to OT. So I like the draw here, plus 320.
Picking the draw here, plus 320. Probably will be a close game. I think that's not a bad way to go, the draw here in this one. There are, again, some shots on goal props I'm considering. I'm always interested with his recent ability to shoot the puck from the point. Drew Doughty, Iafallo continues to go over 2.5 shots. Could say Kempe could do so. On the Boston side, you got to lay minus 160 to do it. But Brad Marchand, I mean, this guy's a shooting machine right now. For the Boston Bruins going into this game. He had 8 against San Jose. He had 7 against Seattle since returning from the suspension. And let's not forget the 2 games before he was suspended, Pittsburgh and Seattle, he had 5 and he had 3 shots on goal in that game. So I don't always love endorsing a minus 160 shot on goal prop, but Marchand over 2.5 minus 160 does feel like he's got it's a decent positive expectation bet, even if you got to lay a little bit of a price there on that one. Based on what we've seen from him the last couple games. I mean, he has just been shooting the puck quite a bit for this Bruins team. Andrew, what do you think here with Boston and LA?
Yeah, I'm a little bit on a different page in this game. I was riding LA last week. I thought that was their week scheduling wise. It was a good chance to pick up some points. But one of the reasons why I like them was because I've been doing, like I said at the start of the show, and that's been schedule watching, finding out the fact they're playing back-to-back games against the Arizona Coyotes, a weakened Islanders team, a Ducks team that's kind of fallen off from the team they were in the first half of the season, So from a scheduling standpoint, the Kings are a great team, and they're in those games alone, the price was disrespectful, 100%. And it is still disrespectful in this game a little bit. But I like the Bruins. Back healthy. You see how much of a different team they are with Marshy back, even with their captain back after he was gone for a couple of games, how much different they've looked. And, I've seen Jimmy talking about DeBrusk on Twitter quite a bit, and some of the secondary guys, showing up for them. And I just think the Bruins are a different team right now. And I know they're hot, 4 straight wins. And I'm not going to sit here and say to you that all 4 of those have been against top tier opponents either, but I like the way they're playing. I like the way they're winning games, and in their last couple of games, allowing no higher than 2 goals is really good, and that's the type of Bruins hockey that you want to see. So I like the Bruins here at minus 125.
Yeah, I do like Jake DeBrusk too as well, a goal scorer. Even though I like the Kings tonight, there's still a couple Bruins props. Like I said, Marchand over shots I like quite a bit. Jake DeBrusk, now he's not going to score every game. But the one thing you're going to get from him, and Jimmy was a proponent of this too when he talked Bruins of the last few times, that until he gets traded, this guy is going to be wanting to show up every single night. And he scored 4 goals in the last 4 games for Boston. He got held off the scoreboard against San Jose but he still had 2 shots on goal, and he had 4 and 3 shots before that. He's getting chances, he's getting shots, getting opportunities. So I think you can go back to that well here as well with DeBrusk, maybe to find the back of the net for the Bruins tonight in this one. Jimmy, this is interesting because we know LA's on fire. We do know that they've had an issue with maybe playing some weaker opponents, but Boston started off this road trip playing 2 teams about as weak as it gets, Seattle and San Jose. So the question is, are the Kings ready to step up here against the Bruins, or are the Bruins starting to peak and turn it on and flip that switch? What do you think here?
Yeah, I think I'd be a millionaire if I could answer that question, Ian. I don't know about this Bruins team. It's another team. I think they've been a lot better than the Capitals. Don't get me wrong, but obviously I'm covering them, and I'm still having trouble trying to figure out who they are. And if you look at it, their record, as you said, you just pointed out, their record against the good teams is not that great. So they played what? They played, like you said, Seattle, San Jose. Don't forget about them in there as well. In Ottawa, right? So this is not the best win streak, but a win's a win at this time of year. And even when you're playing crummy teams at the bottom of the standings, as we're seeing right now with the Montreal Canadiens, it's never going to be an easy game. That being said, I think both teams are playing solid hockey right now, and I with you, I like that draw bet in this as well. I mean, I don't like to take 2 draws in one slate, but this could be a really great game. I think easily going to be the best game on the slate on the schedule tonight. And I look at it in terms of the Bruins right now. One thing I like that they're doing is, you mentioned it there, DeBrusk is slotted in nice. He's playing good hockey as well, but they're finding ways to not let lineup changes alter them too much. And there's something to be said about that, whether that's coaching or whether the players buying in, but they're finding ways to keep a cohesiveness on the forward lines and the defensive pairing. So I like a draw right now. I'm also going to go with the under in the first period. I think both teams come out a little lethargic, and I also like the goaltending that both goalies are performing at right now. So give me the under in the first period. I don't do that often, but give me that under there.
All right, that's under 1.5 in the first period for Jimmy with the Bruins and the Kings. Minus 110 is what you can get with that. And he likes that plus 320 with the draw, which Alex also likes as well for this Bruins-Kings game. All right, there's your Monday card. Before we get to best bets, DraftKings Sportsbook. New customers can bet just $1 on any NBA team, get $150 in free bets if they win. It's that simple. If DraftKings Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, you can still take your shot at a big payday. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Basketball Contest. DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code THPN. Bet just $1 on any NBA team. Get $150 in free bets if they win. That's promo code THPN at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL and NBA. 21 years of age or older, you must be that age. Minimum age and location requirements vary by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for full list of requirements and state-specific responsible gaming resources. Void where prohibited. Minimum $5 deposit. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Download the DraftKings app. Sign up for an account. Use the promo code THPN. All right, best bets to wrap up this Monday show. Reminder, the BetCast tomorrow night, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern. DM any one of us to get the link and join us on the BetCast. 9 games on the NHL slate tomorrow night. Should be a fun, hopefully lots of money-making opportunities on that BetCast tomorrow night. Alex, best bet for Monday.
Yeah, let's go with the Bruins and Kings draw plus 320. We go with that. Like I said, these are 2 teams. You look back at what the Boston Bruins have done. They've had a lot of close games. So they won 3-1 in the last time against San Jose, but they've had games where they've gone to overtime. They've had a lot of 1-goal decisions. This is a Kings team that's rolling right now, winning 5 in a row. It's their last game before going back on the road for a 4-game road trip. So I think this is going to be a tight battle. Could easily see this one being tied at 2-2 or 3-3 after 60 minutes. So we'll go with the draw with the Bees and Kings. Plus 320 is my best bet.
All right, Boston, Los Angeles draw plus 320. Best bet for Alex B. Smith. We've got the best bet cam now moving forward on the Ice Guys show. Just zoom in.
I was not prepared for that at all.
When they give up their best bets. We do that on the other show. So let's do that here. It's good. The spotlight's on you. It's your best bet. You're the star now. So have at it. Andrew, what do you like here for best bet tonight?
I mean, Alex is wearing that nice jersey. One of us has to give a best bet on the Bees. I'll be the one to do it. I liked the LA Kings last week. I told you my buy and sell segment. I was buying the Kings last week. I'm not buying them tonight, though. I think the Bees keep it going. The competition level that LA played last week during that win streak showed me that, hey, they can beat teams they should beat. Can they beat a team like the Bruins, really getting it together? Past couple of games, the most they've allowed is just 2 goals. Their defense is playing well. It's impressive for me. All mark and net tonight. Give me the Bruins.
All right, Boston Bruins minus 125. Best bet for Andrew McInnis. Jimmy, what do you like for best bet?
Well, I apologize, guys. I'm actually going to come in with a best bet that I didn't make a bet earlier on because I saw somebody in the chat room there. Sorry, I can't remember who it was, but mentioning Marchand right now with his shots. And look, this guy was just writing about it in my preview for the game tonight. I mean, he came back. He had 7 shots, like I said before, on Thursday. Then he had 8 on Saturday. So give me Brad Marchand to have 6 or more shots, and you get that at plus 300. That's going to be my best bet.
All right, there you go. And I like it. I'm on that as well with a Brad Marchand over 2.5 shots on goal. He's Doc Holliday at the OK Corral.
No, I'm going over 6. I'm going 6 or over, buddy.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm going full out here.
All right.
So at least 6 shots. Like my book will have it as at least 6 shots
exactly.
or more on goal. Okay.
Very good. If you can find that, for a guy that's had 8 and 7, right? The last 2 games. Yeah, there you go. It's a bet that's got a shot, especially what we've seen
with a guy like him
the last 2 games. So and by the way, did I mention it's Swayman? It's going to be in net tonight for the LA for the Boston Bruins. It'll be
and
Swayman.
Is Quick confirmed?
Quick is confirmed. Yeah.
Okay.
Quick is
it's so weird. Some sites were talking about Peterson earlier in the day, but all I saw.
That's why I asked.
Yeah.
It looks like Quick's confirmed now.
Yeah, Quick's confirmed. I tweeted it out about an hour ago. They said it was a full team skate, and Quick was the first guy off. So.
Yeah, we've got every goalie confirmed except Boston's goalie. I think it'll be all.
No, he's confirmed now, guys. It's him.
Who?
Swayman.
Swayman. Okay,
Swayman.
that's what I thought. Yeah,
third straight start, and I would think tomorrow that means they go to Allmark because of back-to-back, and he's
back-to-back.
3 straight starts.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, so it's Halak and Dawes. Dawes is official, by the way, or likely for New Jersey, but I expected it to be Dawes because look, Gillies has been rough lately.
Yeah.
Mrazek and Samsonov for Toronto, Washington, and now it will be Swayman and Quick for the Boston LA game. All right, my best bet for this Monday card, it's going to be New Jersey team total over 3.5 plus 130. We're riding this thing. Expect this. If this cashes tonight, expect this to be not the last time you're going to see me betting New Jersey Devils team totals. They can flat out find the back of the net, in my opinion. Now that they've got everybody healthy, we've seen that in the last 2 games since getting Dougie Hamilton and Jesper Bratt back on the team, in the lineup, on the ice. 6 goals against Pittsburgh, 5 against New Jersey, or 5 against Chicago for New Jersey. Just trust them to score. That's why the team total option is there. Why worry about the goaltending? Why worry about what they do defensively? Worry about them scoring goals, and I think they can get to at least 4 tonight against a Canucks team that's given up a lot of shots, a lot of danger chances, has their backup Yaroslav Halak in net tonight, who hasn't been sharp in his last few starts. New Jersey Devils team total over 3.5 at a great price, plus 130 at DraftKings for my best bet for this Monday NHL card. And that'll wrap up this edition of the Ice Guys. Thanks to everyone in the chat for joining us. 219 live viewers. Hit the like button if you haven't done so already. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, and Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Alex B. Smith, Andrew McInnis, and Jimmy Murphy, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Monday night. Enjoy the games and good luck, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow on Tuesday for another edition of the Ice Guys, our daily show, and the Betcast tomorrow coming up on the Ice Guys, presented by the Hockey Podcast Network.